When you think of a military truck, you probably picture those huge, heavy, and loud machines, right? But what most people don't know is that over the decades, engineers have built some real war compacts, trucks smaller than a Jeep, but with enough power and traction to handle any terrain. These little beasts were used in missions where agility and stealth mattered more than armor. Tight jungles, makeshift roads, deep snow, or urban warfare zones, they were there, taking it all, with a simple engine, reinforced suspension, and performance that still surprises today. If you grew up watching war movies or lived near military bases, you might even recognize a few of these, but I bet most of them you've never seen in your life. Ready to discover the most compact and surprising military trucks ever built? Then stick with me to the end, because the last one will change everything you thought you knew about size and power on the battlefield. Scania SBA 111. At the height of the Cold War, Sweden needed a reliable, versatile military truck that could handle rough terrain and thick forests with ease. The result was the Scania SBA 111, launched in 1975. Built by Scania, it became the workhorse of the Swedish armed forces for decades. A medium-sized truck with the soul of a giant, perfectly balanced between raw power and compact dimensions. Speaking of size, the SBA 111 measures 6.5 meters long, 2.4 meters wide, and just over 2.8 meters tall. That might not sound small for a civilian vehicle, but in the world of military trucks, this put it among the most compact and agile of its class. Weighing around 9 tons loaded, it was designed to fit into narrow roads, dense forests, and even mountain paths, places where larger vehicles would simply get stuck. Under the hood, it came with a 6-cylinder inline diesel engine, boasting a generous 11-liter displacement, producing about 260 horsepower. That was more than enough to move troops, ammunition, and equipment through mud, snow, or loose gravel. The suspension used heavy-duty parabolic springs, and its 4-wheel drive system came with a locking differential, turning the SBA into a true military tractor. The manual gearbox had both high and low ranges, giving drivers full control over tricky terrain. Visually, it had presence. A short hood, tall cab, and a long but narrow cargo bed gave it a bold silhouette. The deep rumble of the engine, combined with its angular profile and camouflage paint, made it a standout during military drills. Inside, it was no frills, tough, basic, and built to last. The SBA 111 was mainly used for troop and equipment transport, including in the snowy north of Sweden. Its size allowed it to cross narrow bridges, gravel roads, and mountainous terrain with ease. Many of these trucks were even transported by rail as part of the Swedish Army's rapid deployment strategy. Some units were also converted into mobile radar platforms, thanks to their stability and compact size, which made transportation and setup much easier. Today, the SBA 111 is remembered as one of the most well-balanced military designs ever produced by Scania. Some are still running in civilian roles, especially in remote parts of Scandinavia, while others have become collector's items. And if this Swedish beast impressed you with its compact size and raw power, wait until you see the next one. It's articulated and can drive straight through water. BandVang 206. In the early 1980s, Sweden introduced one of the most unusual and efficient military vehicles ever built, the BandVang 206, or simply BV206. Developed by Hägglunds, a Swedish company known for building vehicles for extreme terrain. This machine was designed to operate in deep snow, swamps, sand, and environments where wheeled trucks didn't stand a chance. Unlike a regular truck, the BV206 is articulated in 2 separate sections, each with its own set of rubber tracks. That setup gives it incredible mobility and the ability to carry troops in gear even in the harshest conditions. Size-wise, the BV206 measures 7.6 meters long, but that's split between its 2 articulated units. It's just 1.87 meters wide, allowing it to navigate through narrow trails and dense forests. It stands around 2.4 to 2.6 meters tall depending on the version. Its operating weight is just 4.5 tons, making it incredibly light for a military vehicle with such structure. The engine is a 2.8-liter inline four-cylinder gasoline unit, producing about 125 horsepower. But brute force isn't the point here. Its true strength lies in flotation and constant traction. Yes, the BV206 is fully amphibious. It can cross lakes, rivers, and flood zones without any modification. It features full-time, all-wheel drive with independent traction between the front and rear modules. The wide track system distributes weight evenly, minimizing ground pressure and allowing it to float over snow and mud. This made it perfect for patrol missions, medical evacuations, and supply transport in isolated regions. Visually, the BandVang looks like something from a research base in the Arctic, chunky, segmented, and designed for function over form. Inside, it fits up to 17 fully equipped soldiers, or it can be outfitted as an ambulance, command post, or mobile communication center. It was widely adopted by Nordic countries and exported to over 40 nations, including the United States, where it was tested in Alaska and other cold weather operations. One fascinating fact: some BV206s built over 30 years ago are still in active use, with minimal maintenance required. Today, the BV206 is considered an off-road military mobility icon, and even after decades, it still inspires modern designs for lightweight tactical transport. And if an articulated track truck seems strange to you, just wait for the next one. An American oddball that looked like a field improvisation, but turned out to be a battlefield revolution. Gamma Goat M561. Born out of the Vietnam War, the Gamma Goat M561 was designed to give the U.S. military a lightweight, off-road, and amphibious vehicle that could operate in flooded jungles, swamps, and dense forest. The name Goat wasn't a gimmick. This thing was built to climb, crawl, and scramble over any terrain, no matter how rough. The Gamma Goat is a six-wheeled, articulated truck, with the rear section moving independently from the front cab. It measures 6.6 meters in length, 2.2 meters wide, and about 2 meters high. Weighing just over 3 tons, it was light enough to be airlifted and compact enough to squeeze through trails other trucks couldn't handle. It was powered by a 2.5-liter, 3-cylinder diesel engine, pushing around 103 horsepower. While that may seem modest today, it was reliable, durable, and perfectly suited for tactical mobility in rough terrain. All 6 wheels had independent suspension, and the articulated axle design allowed extreme flex, keeping the wheels grounded on uneven slopes and rugged paths. Inside, the Goat was bare bones, hard seats, a basic dashboard, zero comfort. But it was all about resilience. It could carry up to 750 kilograms of cargo and 7 fully loaded soldiers. And yes, it was amphibious, able to swim through water using the rotation of its wheels without any prep. Its look was unmistakable, somewhere between a tractor and a military trailer. The diesel engine's deep growl and its flexible frame moving through swampy terrain made it a spectacle on its own. Now here's the twist. While it was a success in the field, the Gamma Goat gained a bit of a reputation for being a nightmare to maintain. The complex articulation system needed constant adjustments, and military mechanics reportedly hated working on it, to the point where jokes about it circulated among troops. Still, it did its job brilliantly throughout the 60s and 70s, especially in Vietnam and remote forward operating bases. Today, the Gamma Goat is a rare gem among collectors and remembered as a bold experiment that worked better than many expected. Liking this deep dive into compact off-road military beasts? Then hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. Because what's coming next is even smaller, rarer, and more surprising. Z5. Back in the 1930s, as Europe teetered on the edge of another war, the Soviet Union knew it needed a vehicle that was simple, tough, and could operate in all types of terrain, especially in freezing winters and the muddy plains of the Eastern Front. That's how the Z5 was born, a military truck tractor that blended ruggedness with pure functionality. Built by the Stalingrad Tractor Factory, STZ, starting in 1937, the STZ5 became one of the first tracked military trucks in history, and that made all the difference in Soviet terrain. In terms of dimensions, the STZ5 was compact for a military tractor. 4.3 meters long, 2 meters wide, and only 2.2 meters high. Weighing just over 4.5 tons, it was short, narrow, and light enough to maneuver through forests, swamps, and even bombed-out urban areas, the kind of terrain Soviet troops constantly faced during World War II. Its engine was a 4-cylinder gasoline unit with a 7.5-liter displacement, generating around 52 horsepower. Sounds low? That's because the STZ5 wasn't built for speed. It was built to haul. Its main mission was towing light artillery, capable of pulling over 2 tons even in slippery, frozen terrain. Power was delivered through metal tracks with semi-elliptical spring suspension, providing full traction even on packed snow. The manual transmission had multiple low gears for continuous torque in rough conditions. Visually, the STZ5 looked like a cross between a farm tractor and a military truck. The steel cab was boxy and tight, with room for just 2 crew members. Behind it, a simple wooden or metal flatbed carried ammunition, gear, or personnel, depending on the task. This model was widely used throughout World War II, especially during harsh winter campaigns and long-haul logistics missions in remote regions. Its compact size allowed access to places where conventional trucks would get stuck or break axles. One surprising detail, the STZ5 was one of the first Soviet vehicles to feature a thermal canvas wrap around the engine, used to prevent freezing in temperatures below -30 degrees Celsius. Today, the STZ5 is a museum piece and a true symbol of Soviet resilience. Some restored units still run and are showcased in historical military parades, as a reminder of engineering that was crude but brilliantly effective. And if this little Soviet workhorse impressed you with its simplicity and strength, just wait. The next model brings Italian elegance to the off-road battlefield, with traction, style, and plenty of history. Fiat SBA TM40. During World War II, Italy developed several compact military vehicles focused on light transport and logistical support. One of the most notable was the Fiat SBA TM40, a small tractor truck with a bold proposition: be light, fast, and fully equipped with 4x4, all wrapped in a smaller body than most vehicles of its time. Launched in 1942 by SPA, Società Piemontese Automobili, a subsidiary of Fiat, the TM40 was designed to tow light artillery and act as a tactical support vehicle in rough terrain, especially in the deserts of North Africa. And in terms of measurements, the TM40 stands out. 4.7 meters long, just 1.95 meters wide, and 2.3 meters tall. Weighing around 3.8 tons, it was significantly smaller than most trucks used by Axis forces, making it more agile and easier to conceal or transport. Under the hood, it carried a 4-cylinder gasoline engine with 5.4 liters of displacement, producing around 52 horsepower, similar to the Soviet STZ5, but with a lighter, faster feel. It had 4-wheel drive, a manual 5-speed gearbox, and lockable differentials, giving it excellent performance on sand and broken terrain. The suspension featured a solid axle with semi-elliptical springs, making it reliable for long-haul missions. Visually, the TM40 had a clean, elegant design with smoother lines and refined touches that screamed Italian engineering. The cab fit 2 soldiers, and the rear bed carried ammo, artillery parts, or even small trailers. This vehicle was primarily used in the North African campaign, where its compact size and light weight helped avoid minefields and tight desert paths. It was also often seen towing small cannons through the rocky trails of Libya and Tunisia. Here's an interesting fact. The TM40 was one of the first compact military trucks in Italy to be tested in high-altitude alpine conditions, in preparation for possible conflict in mountain regions, showing how strategically thoughtful the Italian engineers were. Today, the Fiat SBA TM40 is a rare gem, preserved in just a few military museums in Italy and by private collectors. Its classic looks and extreme terrain performance make it a true jewel of Italian off-road military mobility. And if what you've seen so far already looks clever and battle-proven, the next model is a true legend. And yes, it's still hitting the trails today. Unimog 406. If there's one name that spans generations in the world of compact and unstoppable military trucks, it's Unimog. The legendary 406 model, launched in 1963 by Mercedes-Benz, remains to this day one of the most versatile military vehicles ever built. It was made to do everything, and it did. With a bold look, simple lines, and compact proportions, the Unimog 406 delivered tractor-level power in a lightweight truck body. No exaggeration there. Its dimensions placed it among the most efficient off-road military trucks ever produced. 4.85 meters long, 2.15 meters wide, and 2.45 meters high. Curb weight ranged from 4.5 to 5 tons, depending on configuration. Under the hood, it packed a 6-cylinder inline diesel engine with 5.7 liters of displacement, delivering between 84 and 110 horsepower, depending on the version. The key was torque, high and constant, making it ideal for transport missions in trails, mountains, and rugged terrain. It featured full-time 4-wheel drive with differential locks front and rear, and a portal axle suspension system, one of Unimog's biggest advantages. This setup raised ground clearance to over 40 centimeters, letting it clear obstacles that would stop almost any other truck. The manual gearbox offered low-range gears and even PTO, power takeoff, for winches or agricultural tools. Visually, the Unimog 406 is iconic. Round headlights tucked into the grille, a short cab, and oversized wheels. Inside, it was rugged but functional, with heavy-duty controls designed to withstand years of hard use. And despite being military, it offered above-average comfort for its era. The 406 served in many armies, including West Germany, France, Switzerland, and even UN missions. In Brazil, a few units were imported in the 1970s. It transported troops, hauled artillery, supported engineering units, and even cleared landmines. Here's a cool fact. The Unimog was so versatile that many units were later converted into military-grade motorhomes and are still used today by enthusiasts for long-distance expeditions. Today, the Unimog 406 is a collector's favorite, and many are still on the road, looking nearly untouched, still climbing trails as if they just rolled off the factory line. But if Unimog is the symbol of German muscle, the next vehicle is 100% Scandinavian DNA, even smaller and even more radical. Volvo C303. When Sweden decided it needed a new light military truck capable of moving through forests, mountains, and snowy terrain with ease, it turned to Volvo. The result was the C303, launched in 1974. Compact, simple, and absolutely unstoppable off-road. The C303 was built with one mission in mind: be as light, narrow, and functional as possible, without sacrificing power or reliability. And Volvo nailed it. It measures just 4.35 meters long, 1.93 meters wide, and 2.2 meters high. With an empty weight of only 2.7 tons, it's one of the smallest full-time 4x4 military trucks ever put into official service. It came with a 3.0-liter gasoline inline-6 engine, pushing out about 125 horsepower. Considering its lightweight, that gives it an excellent power-to-weight ratio. Ideal for quick troop movement or navigating tight areas. Full-time 4-wheel drive, front and rear locking differentials, and a solid axle with coil springs gave it serious off-road capability and articulation. It also featured low-range gearing in the manual transmission, helping it climb steep slopes even fully loaded. From the outside, the C303 has a boxy, utilitarian look, a narrow cab, flat windshield, and a tall stance. But don't let the simplicity fool you. Inside, it could carry 6 to 8 soldiers, depending on the version, with space for extra gear, comms equipment, or light weapons. The C303 was widely used by the Swedish military and exported to countries like Norway, Austria, and the Netherlands. It served in patrol, mobile medical units, communication teams, and as light infantry support. Thanks to its narrow width, it could squeeze through hunting paths and forest tracks that even Land Rovers couldn't manage. And get this, C303s are still seen on Scandinavian trails today, fully restored with original parts, tackling snow, mud, and rocks just like they did 50 years ago. If you're loving this journey through rare and extreme military off-roaders, do your part. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. because these last two machines are jaw-dropping, and number one will challenge everything you thought you knew about military trucks. Land Rover 101 GS. Launched in the early 1970s, the Land Rover 101 Forward Control, also known as the 101 GS, is one of those vehicles that looks small but commands serious presence. It was developed at the request of the UK Ministry of Defence to be a light logistics support truck, mainly to haul ammunition and artillery gear out in the field. The 101 in its name refers to the track width in inches, or about 2.57 meters, but overall the truck measures just 4.57 meters long and 2.2 meters high, weighing around 2.8 tons empty. Its compact design made it easy to load into planes and helicopters, while still tough enough to handle mud, snow, sand, or rocks without blinking. Power came from a 3.5-liter Rover V8 gasoline engine, pushing out roughly 130 horsepower. But the real magic was the torque, strong enough to pull medium artillery through tough terrain without breaking a sweat. The 101 GS featured full-time four-wheel drive, a 4-speed manual gearbox, low-range gearing, and locking differentials. The suspension used coil springs with solid axles, giving it the durability and articulation needed for tight trails and off-camber slopes. Some units even had front winches, boosting their battlefield versatility even further. Design-wise, the 101 GS was unmistakable, a forward control cab over the front wheels, flat-faced and rugged. The split windshield, integrated headlights, and modular body made it easy to adapt. There were versions built as ambulances, comms units, command posts, and even mobile recovery stations. It was heavily used by the British Armed Forces in the 70s and 80s, with deployments in Germany, Northern Ireland, the Falklands, and NATO exercises. Its strength and dependability made it a trusted choice for years. And here's a fun twist. After military retirement, many 101 GS units were sold to civilians and converted into 4x4 campers, some of which are still exploring Africa, Australia, and Europe to this day. It's rare, but you might still catch one on the trails, proudly wearing its original camo. And if you thought a military Land Rover was already rare, the final truck on this list is a micro machine with the soul of a tank, and it can go where even the 101 can't. Hofflinger 4x4. We've reached the smallest, most compact, and arguably the most surprising vehicle on the entire list, the Hofflinger 4x4, built by Steyr Puch in Austria. First released in 1959, this miniature military truck looks like a toy until it fires up and starts climbing hills like they're flat ground. The Hofflinger was designed as an ultralight military vehicle for alpine terrain, built to operate in places where no normal truck could fit. Narrow valleys, mountain trails, snowy fields, and dense forests. Now get this, it measures only 3.5 meters long, 1.35 meters wide, and 1.7 meters tall. The weight? Just 600 kilograms, roughly half the weight of a classic Volkswagen Beetle. And despite its size, it packed four-wheel drive, independent suspension, and a payload capacity of 500 kilograms. Basically, it can carry almost its own weight in troops or gear. Its engine, a 643cc, air-cooled, two-cylinder boxer, producing just 27 horsepower. Sounds tiny, and it is, but thanks to its lightweight and low gearing, the Hofflinger could climb steep slopes, cross shallow rivers, and muscle through mud pits with ease. The four-wheel drive system and locking differentials made it nearly unstoppable, and the independent suspension on all four wheels gave it amazing stability, even on side slopes. The best part? It was small enough to be airlifted by light helicopters or laded into small aircraft. Visually, the Hofflinger is stripped down. No frills, no armor. Just a tubular frame, lightweight body, and optional canvas top. Inside, it's bare bones. 2 seats, a steering wheel, a gear stick, and a handbrake. And that's about it. But that simplicity made it incredibly reliable in the field. It was used by the Austrian and Swiss armed forces, along with several other alpine countries. Civilian versions were also sold for use on farms, ski resorts, and even by mountain rescue teams. Believe it or not, there are still Hofflingers working today in remote Swiss villages, hauling firewood, supplies, or performing light patrols in terrain where no pickup could go. The Hofflinger proves once and for all, size doesn't matter. It closes our list with a bang, a tiny truck with fewer than 30 horsepower, but a legacy of pure off-road greatness. Throughout this video, we've seen that military trucks don't have to be huge beasts to make history. From articulated Swedish machines to Austrian micro trucks, each one proved that smart engineering, efficient traction, and compact size can be far more valuable than sheer bulk. These aren't just machines, they're mechanical legends that have conquered war zones, trails, snowstorms, deserts, and jungles, often reaching places no other vehicle could. Now tell me in the comments, had you ever seen or heard of any of these models before? Which one blew your mind? And which one would you love to take for a spin in full military style? And of course, if you love this kind of content, don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave a like. Every week, we bring you more machines that defy engineering, nature, and history. See you in the next video.